Metal Gear for the NES sold over 1 million copies and launched a franchise that would span almost 4 decades. So why'd the guy who created it hate it? Well, to understand that, we need to go back to where Metal Gear started, which was not on the NES. The first Metal Gear actually came out on the MSX2, a system in Japan. Kojima actually wanted to make an action game, but the hardware of the MSX couldn't handle all the people and bullets on the screen. So Kojima switched focus to a stealth-based game. Avoiding combat became the best strategy for the player and for the system. So, what was this stealth game about? A group named Outer Heaven is building a doomsday device, and a spec ops group named Foxhound sends in one of their agents, Gray Fox, to investigate. They lose contact with Gray Fox right after receiving the message Metal Gear. So they send their newest recruit, Solid Snake, to find Gray Fox and find out what's going on with Outer Heaven. Through the game, Snake finds out that Metal Gear is a walking nuclear arsenal, and Big Boss, the leader of Foxhound, was actually the one behind Outer Heaven all along. And he sent in Snake, the rookie, because he assumed he would get killed. So Snake finds Gray Fox, takes down Metal Gear, takes down Big Boss, and Outer Heaven. But that's not the version of the game most people know. Konami wanted to capitalize on the success of the MSX, and they rushed to port out onto the NES for Western markets. And they put their development team in Tokyo in charge of the development without Kojima. They also gave him 3 months to do it, and according to one of Nintendo's coders, Masahiro Uneo, they were told to make the game as different as they could from the original Metal Gear. And the first change was they got rid of Metal Gear. In the MSX version, Snake has to take down Metal Gear, the giant chicken walking doomsday device strapped with nuclear missiles, by placing 16 bombs in strategic locations around his feet. But at the NES version, Snake has the insurmountable task of turning off a computer that's guarded by some guys. There were other strange changes they made to the NES version. The MSX version starts with Snake doing a water infiltration of the level, while in the NES version, Snake and some other agents parachute into a jungle. These other agents are never mentioned or heard from again. They also changed around a lot of items, level designs, bosses. They even changed how stealth works. Like I said, the MSX version was a stealth game. It had an alert system. 1 exclamation point above their heads, they're alerted and they'll chase down Snake. 2, and they'll call in reinforcements. And to escape the reinforcements, Snake has to escape the area until the alert meter goes back to 0. But in the NES version, these 2 alert levels were combined into 1. If a soldier or a dog see you, they call in reinforcements, and the only way that Snake can escape is by killing everyone or getting out of their sight. And to fit with the action theme, enemies would run in from adjacent screens and bullets traveled a lot further. But rushing the port also brought a lot of issues. Due to the space limitations of the NES cartridge, a lot of the dialogue either had to be cut or edited, and a lot of the dialogue that was left in wasn't great. Lines like "I feel asleep" and "the truck have started to move" have now become almost famous. Because the level design was changed, some of the conversations in the NES version now didn't make any sense. Characters would reference areas that you were nowhere near. To extend the gameplay, they just made level design more confusing. They added a swamp maze. Some buildings were cut in half and made into separate but identical structures, making navigation impossible. Plenty of traps and sudden death pits were added, and just for fun, a decoy truck that if you hop inside will take you back to the beginning. And while the versions were different, so were how the players received them. While Metal Gear did well in Japan, the NES version exploded, sold over 1 million copies, and it's the version most people are familiar with. Even though Kojima publicly disowned the game and any connection to it, it was the reason Konami felt comfortable making sequels. The cheap rush port was the one the creator hated, but it's the one that popularized the series and spread the name Metal Gear worldwide. In fact, the NES version motivated Kojima to make Metal Gear Solid 2 Solid Snake, which was a sequel to his original game and brought back his vision to the series. And that's the irony. Without this cheap, rushed-out port, people wouldn't know the name Metal Gear. It never would have left Japan. It gave Konami the reassurance to launch a franchise that today has sold over 60 million copies and has 14 mainline games, not to count all the spin-offs. Metal Gear had terrible dialogue, broken gameplay, annoying additions that did nothing but add on game time, and it didn't even have Metal Gear, and people couldn't get enough. But that's just what I think. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. And while you're down there, if you could hit the like and subscribe buttons, I'd really appreciate it. I'll see you next time.